Hello, I'm Dan from Ace Rentals and Sales, and today we're going to be taking a look at our 2021 Thor Ace 30.3 model. I'm going to be showing you everything on the outside and the inside, so you'll be all set and prepared when you decide to rent from us. So we're going to start on the driver's side here. This first compartment isn't a storage area, it's just for servicing the RV. Now the next one here is your propane tank. The propane tank is going to last about a week before you'll have to refill it. If you do have to refill it, truck stations and campsites will do it for you. You can see there's a sensor here that will show you how full or empty the tank is, but there's also one inside. So you can just check inside to see how full or empty it is. The propane is going to power things like your stove, your oven, your water heater, and your fridge when you're not plugged in. The next compartment over here is going to be for the generator. The generator is going to run on the engine gas, so as long as you're at least a quarter tank full of gas, you can expect this to work. It's going to power all the major electrical appliances in your RV. They'll be your TVs, your microwave, your AC units, and your outlets. One thing you should do is you should not run the AC and the microwave at the same time, as it's too powerful for this generator. In the case that you do, you just want to take the top off here, and then the breaker is going to be right here. One or both of them will flip to off, so all you want to do is just flip it to the left, back to on. Everything else you can handle inside the RV. Over here is the storage compartment where we've placed all of the hoses and cords for you. So in this bag here we have the sewer hose, and I'll show you that at the dumping station. And over here, this bag is a few things. First of all, you can see this white hose here, which is your city and freshwater hose. More on that later. We have a 50 amp to 30 amp adapter right here with a 30 to 15 amp adapter at the end. So you can go from 50 to 30 and then 30 to 15 here. Also in here we have your TV cable, so I'll show you where to plug that in. So in the back here is your dumping station. This is where you're going to dump out your black and gray waste tanks. So you're just going to take this hose, take the teeth and clip it on here, and then you're going to take the other side and put this at the campsite or wherever else you're dumping. From there you have two valves which are color coded here. You have the gray valve, which is for your gray tank, that's your sinks and your shower, and you have your black valve here, that's for your black tank, that's your toilet. Once it's pulled out like this, that means it's open. So if there were anything in the tanks right now, they'd be coming out due to gravity. We recommend you open up the black one first and then the gray one to flush it out. There will be sensors inside, and I'll show you that. It'll show you how full or empty the tanks are. So once they're done, you just want to push it in to close it, and that's pretty much it. In the back here, we have the power cord connector. This is going to be a 50 amp RV, so we'll give you the power cord. Just want to plug it in here. Once you're plugged in, all the major electrical appliances will work. You can run the AC and the microwave at the same time, and you won't have to worry about the generator at all. Next up here is the TV cable inlet. We'll also supply the TV cable for you. You just want to plug this in at your campsite, stick it into the post at the other end, and you can get all the channels through cable. If not, there's also an antenna inside, so you can find all the channels through the air. Over here is the city water inlet as opposed to the freshwater inlet. You're going to use the same hose for both of these, but the city water inlet is for when you're at your campsite and you want to take their water instead of your own. Once you plug it in, the water will go directly into the pipes and bypass the tank, so you won't be using anything from the tank at all. And over here is your outside shower, so if you're at the beach or something, you want to wash off the sand before you head inside, you can just wash yourself down here. And you won't have to worry about the tank flush valve. That's just for us when you return the RV. And in the back here we have one big storage area where we've also put the power cord. Again, this is 50 amps, and once you're plugged into shore power, all the major electrical appliances will be working. Now as we go to the back of the RV, first of all we can see the fuel fill inlet. This is going to be regular gas, so it doesn't take diesel or anything. Above here we have the rear view camera. It'll go out about 8 feet total. You can leave it on when you're driving, otherwise once you put the RV in reverse it'll pop up on the display. And we have the service ladder right here, so there's no need to go up there. It's just for service purposes. And onto the passenger side here, we have an outside kitchen. So we have the sink, just make sure the water pump is on. And the fridge is going to run just like the fridge inside. When you're not plugged in, it's going to run on propane. And when you switch over to 50 amp connection, it's going to switch over to electricity automatically. Next up down here, we have the propane outlet. So if you have an external grill at your campsite, you can hook it up to here and it'll take it off of the propane tank. Over here is the hot water exhaust. I'll talk more about the hot water inside, but just know that it's going to get hot here, so don't put your hand here. The same goes for the hot furnace exhaust right over here. Above here is the back of the fridge. It's going to start leaking water, so it's just condensation. There's no need to worry about it. And over here we just have two 15 amp 110 volt outlets. Just make sure the generator is running or you're plugged in for those to work. And along the bottom here we have a lot of storage areas. This one over here. And finally this one over here. And over here we have the outside TV. And on the passenger side here, we have the freshwater inlet. As I said, on the driver's side, you're gonna use the same hose, but this is gonna be to fill up the tank itself. So when you're on the road, you're not plugged in, you're dry camping, you wanna use the sink or the shower or the toilet, you're gonna take it off of the tank here and you're gonna fill it up that way. Down here is the storage compartment for the house batteries. You really won't have to worry about this. They're just gonna be for very minor electrical things like the lights or the awning or the slide outs. So expect them to work. They're gonna be charged when the engine's running, when you're plugged in. Just know they're here in case there's some kind of service issue. And over here we have a sticker that shows the height of the RV. It's gonna be about 12.5 feet, so watch out for things like parking garages and drive-throughs. Unless you're going into New York City, any tunnel should be fine, however. That's all I have to say for the outside of the RV here, so we can head inside. You'll see the power step come out, and we also have a screen door here. So entering the RV here, we have a few switches down here. First of all, the one that says step here, this is just gonna be for when you open the screen door, the step is gonna come out. You can switch it on or off so it doesn't. The step light is just gonna be for the entry light right here. This dial is gonna be for the house battery. As I said, outside you can just keep it on, you don't have to worry about it. And below that we have the switch for the awning, which is gonna run on the house battery. You just wanna hold down out. Make sure the keys are out of the ignition and the parking brake is on for this to work. To my left here, we have a fire extinguisher for safety precautions. There's also a smoke detector and a carbon monoxide and propane detector inside as well. Over here are some switches. This is going to be for the galley lights, the ceiling lights inside. We have the LED lights for the awning outside here. And next to that, we have a switch that raises and lowers the TV in the kitchen table here. Now over here in the back of the RV, we have probably the most important part. We have the control panel right here. So you can open and close the slide outs with this button here. For this RV, you actually have to have the engine on. So once you have the keys in, turn it, have the engine on, parking brake on as well. You can hold down extend to extend this slide out. The bedroom is gonna have a different separate slide out button. And you just wanna hold and retract to pull it back in. Over here you have the water pump switch. Once you switch this on, you can see this light that turns on. Once it turns on, all the water can come out of the faucets. We recommend you have this off when you're driving though, just in case when you're driving you don't want a faucet opening and for all the water to leak out. The water heater you can turn on either with propane gas when you're not plugged in, or if you're plugged in and you want to save propane, you can use 110 volt electricity instead. Either way, if you flip one of these on, it's going to take up to 20 minutes to get your water, so if you want to take a hot shower, just plan that much in advance. Over here we have the levels of all the tanks in the RV. So if you hold down each of these buttons for the different tanks, these buttons will light it from empty, 1/3, 2/3 to full. So if I were to hold down LPG, that's your propane, you can see that as I hold it down, all four will light up, so it's full. The battery you can expect to be charged. You have the fresh water here, which is empty. And the black tank and the gray tank are empty. Over here is going to be how to turn on and off your generator. So you can see the total number of hours that the generator has been running for this RV. We recommend you have it on for no more than 3 hours at a time. If you want to use it continuously, have it off for 3 hours and then 3 hours back on, just keep that interval up. If you want to turn on the generator, you're just going to hold down stop first until this light turns on. The red light here will prime it. Once you do that, you can hold down start, give it a few seconds, and there you go. It'll take no more than 30 seconds to 2 minutes. When the microwave beeps, you know that everything is going to be running. Below the control panel here, we have the AC thermostat. So if you were to turn on the AC unit for the cabin up front here, you just want to switch this from off over to fan first, and once it starts working you can switch it over to cool, which is the best setting. If you wanted to use heat in the winter, for example, you can switch it over to heat, and instead of using the generator or when you're plugged in, it's just going to use the battery, the house batteries, and the propane. So I'll just switch it back to off here, and you can control how powerful it is, low to high over here. And you won't have to worry about the inverter at all. Next, with the generator on, I can show you how to find channels on the TV. So once the TV is on, you're going to hit source right here. Make sure the input source is on TV. Then you're going to hit menu right here. Go over to channel. Here you can switch between air, which is using the antenna, or if you're plugged in at your campsite, you can use cable instead. I'm just going to go back to air, and then you can press auto scan, start to scan, and it'll take 5 to 10 minutes to find channels for you. And if you want to turn off the generator, you just hold down stop here, and you can hear it stop. All the way in the back of the RV here, we have the master bedroom. So we have a lot of cabinet space and drawer space all around, charging stations on each side. We have a table in here, has the pole and the tabletop, so you can put that table in between the driver and passenger seats in the front. But we also have a TV. We have another AC unit for the back here, just for the bedroom. The thermometer is going to work just the same as the one in the front. And we have the switch here for the slide out. Below the bed is the fuse box. We'll give you extra fuses for this, just in case anything blows. Over here is the bathroom area. So we can start off with the toilet here. You just want to push down on this pedal here to flush it down. Just make sure the water pump is on. The toilet paper is RV specific, so you have to go like the camping section at Walmart, or campsites themselves will sell it for you. In the sink here, we have placed just a few bottles of solution for the toilet. You can just pour this down here to freshen up in case the smell comes up from the toilet. And opposite the bathroom, you just have a standard shower right here. To my right here, we have the kitchen area. So we can start with the kitchen sink. We like to keep the turntable for the microwave in the sink, just in case the latch breaks, you don't want it coming out and shattering on the ground. Over here we have just a standard house microwave. Again, just make sure the AC and the microwave not at the same time when you're on the generator. Down here we have the stove and the oven, both of which are going to run on the propane. So you just want to set this to light. You can hear the propane come out, just hit the burner, and that's it. Once you're done, just wait a few minutes before you put the lid back on, just in case the propane there, you don't want it to get trapped in there. And below that we have the oven, and the dial for that is going to be right here. And over here we have our fridge. As I said, outside it's going to run on the propane when you're not plugged in. And when you do plug in, it'll automatically switch over to electricity. If you want to change the settings on the fridge, we have it right here. So you can just hold down the power button to turn it on or off. Right now it's on. You can press mode here to switch the mode. So A here means automatic, meaning it'll switch automatically between propane and electricity. The teardrop here means it's running on propane. So if we were to press mode here, I could manually switch it over to electricity, which isn't going to work since we're not plugged in. And then over here we have how cold the fridge is. So if you just press this thermometer button, you can just change how cold the fridge and freezer are going to be. To use the windows, all you want to do is just turn this dial clockwise to open it, and then counterclockwise to close it. And for the blinds, they're just pulled down and push up. Over here in the living area, we have a dinette and a sofa, both of which can turn into beds. I'll show you the dinette first. You can see that we have seatbelts enough for 2 people for this one. So all I did was take the top cushions out and then put the bottom cushions up like this. Down here we have a latch. This will loosen the tabletop. You just want to flip it to the left like this, and then you can push it down. It'll rest on these edges right here. And finally, I just put the top cushions back across here, and this is your bed. And over here is the sofa. We have seatbelts for 2 people here. And if you want to turn it into a bed, you just pull it out like a futon like this. Also over here is the ladder for the overhead bunk, which I'll get to right now. Over here at the entrance, we have the switch for the overhead bunk. You can just keep this to on, but just make sure, in order for this to work, there's a safety precaution. Keys have to be out of the ignition and the parking brake has to be on. You can just hold down lower here. This is also going to run on the house battery like the awning and the slide out. Once it's fully down, we can just take the ladder here, and hook it onto these latches right here. Behind the passenger seat, we have a little envelope that has the registration. We have those extra fuses I was talking about, and we have the instruction manual for the RV. Over here in the front cab, I'll show you the keys really quick. This here is your ignition. It'll have the Ford logo on it. This black rectangle and black circle are both for the cabin door. And these gray square ones are going to be for the compartments outside. The rest are just service for the front hood, for example, so you don't need to worry about those. But over here we have a 24/7 roadside assistance number. You can call this anytime for any question you might have. On the display here, you can see we have our radio. You can connect your phone with Bluetooth. You also have a GPS built into this one, and you have your rear view camera, which you can keep on. Just wait a few seconds, you can see it pop up. There you go. Also, when I put my blinker on, this is my right indicator. We have a camera on the right side, and we have a camera on the left side. The parking brake is going to be down here, so all you want to do is just push it down with your foot, and you can use this to release it. Over here is your jack system. You want to have the engine on for this to work. You'll see the lights turn on. It'll take like 10 minutes total to bring them down and bring them back up. So all you want to do is just hold down the on button. Once it's like this, you can press auto. It'll take like 5 minutes to bring all the jacks down, so the RV is going to go back and forth until it's level. Once that happens, this light will turn on, the jacks down light. So before you leave the campsite or wherever else you are, you just want to press retract all jacks. It'll take another 5 minutes for the jacks to come back up, and the jacks down light will turn off. Before you leave, you can just go around and spot and make sure that all the jacks are working. And that's all I have to say for our 2021 Thor Ace 30.3. I've been Dan from Ace RV Rentals and Sales, and have a great trip.